Gaudet, your Tarot Fairy Godmother. It is time for Global Tarot Circle. We do this once a month. It's a time for us to get together to share some readings with each other and to learn a little bit about tarot. So wherever you are in your tarot journey, whether you are someone who's been working with the cards for a very long time or whether you're brand new to the cards, you might have some fun and you might learn some things. We start out, of course, with introductions. For those of you who haven't done it already, and a few of you already have, we need your name, where in the world you are, and what deck you're working with. Now, once you've done that, you can go ahead and give us a burning question. So your burning question in the first half of our time together is a question for a reading. If you would like a reading today, you can ask any kind of question and we will all read for you in a very specific format. Most of you know it, but if you don't, I will share it with you. So go ahead, introduce yourself, and if you have a question, go ahead and ask it. Now, Justine, who's not able to be with us here this evening, has asked a tarot question. In the second half of our time together, starting at about 1:30, we will switch over from doing readings to doing conversation about tarot. So any questions that you have about anything tarot related, we can do in the second half. Okay, so let's see some of the introductions here. Let's see. We have Smile Soul 20 working with a Rider-Waite Tarot, and thank you so much for being a member, and I know you are in Connecticut. Okay, Lisa Harmon, thanks for being a member in Greenville, South Carolina, with my old trusty Rusty Hanson Roberts Tarot deck. PL Day, nice to see you. Thanks for being here. I have a picture of PL Day and me together. It's actually in the newsletter. If you read the newsletter, you'll see it, and I'm going to put it on the community thread as soon as I get a minute. All right, D9 in Fort Lauderdale using the RWS. And Adrija using the RWS. Tortoiseshell Moon, Kathy, thanks for being a member. Thanks for using members only emojis. In Liverpool, the UK, working with Robin Wood. Claire C., thanks for being a member. In Port Charlotte in Southwest Florida, using Radiant Rider-Waite. Quinn Kilharius, your first name is Renata. I didn't know that. That's so cool. In Brazil, using the Romantic Tarot. Jerry Thomas, nice to see you. Jerry in Maryland. Very good. Ashley in sunny Florida, using the Disney Villains deck. And Adrija's in Virginia. Julia Bonesteel, so nice to see you. Thanks for being a member. In Northern New York, using my Universal Waite and the Medieval Cat Tarot. So thank you all, and we'll welcome people as they come in. Lynn Collin, my friend, thanks for being a member in Palm City, Florida, right down the road from me, using Everyday Witch Tarot. And if you, like Lynn, happen to live somewhat in or near Palm City, Florida, we have our monthly in-person tarot meetup coming up this Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you happen to be local, come join us at Panera Bread, 4 p.m. on this coming Sunday in Palm City. Oh. So quincalharius is a Portuguese word that means meaningless, trivial stuff. It's not a name. That's fabulous. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's so good. Thank you. Now I know a word in Portuguese. I love it. All right. So here's what we're going to do for the first half of our time together. You can ask any question at all that you are willing to have a group of people read for you. I'm going to go through and I'm going to see the questions and I'll take them in order. I will read the question aloud and I will pull one card and answer it with a single card. If you would like to do the reading, you can put the name of the person and again draw one card, the name of the card you got, and your interpretation. And so if you ask a question, don't just listen to what I have to say. Go through the thread and and see what everyone has to say for you so you can put it together. So it's not just a one-card reading, it's a big reading, many cards from all over the world, because indeed we are Global Tarot Circle. And if you have a question about the cards, go ahead and ask. We'll save those and we'll do those in the second half of our time together. All right, so let's get going with that. The first request that I see is Smile Soul 20. Again, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member here. We appreciate you. The question is, what does the universe want me to know? If you would like to do this reading at Smile Soul 20, the name of the card you got and your interpretation. And let me start us out. What do we see here? The King of Pentacles reversed. So what the universe wants you to know is, like, everything's basically good, but you may not be happy with your work situation or your financial situation. And the question is, do you want to do something to change it? You don't have to. It's not saying that you must or you should, but if you wanted to do something to change it, you might be able to make a change. So let's see what other people have. The larger question is, what does the universe want you to know? From my perspective, the universe wants you to look at what changes might you want to make regarding finances or regarding your job. And let's see what other people have to say. All right. The next request I see is from Jerry. Thanks so much for being here. We appreciate you. My question is, how can I best begin to use my spiritual gifts, specifically reading tarot, to help heal others? Well, let's take a look. And if you'd like to do this reading, at Jerry Thomas, the name of the card you got and your interpretation. Let's see what we got here. So with the Five of Wands reversed, I think the key, if you have not already been doing this, this is going to be a good place for you to start, is really being willing to do a lot of practice readings for free or for very, very inexpensive. To really get used to reading for lots of people. And to get them to see, what you're about and what you've got going on here. So I would say you're at the stage where it's time for you to get a lot of practice. I did that for about 8 years. Like between the time I really felt like I was a competent reader and the time I went professional, I spent about 8 years just reading for people casually. And so by the time I was taking people's money, I was very sure I was ready. And I don't know that you need to wait 8 years. I think I maybe waited too long. But it feels like you're in that time of just wanting to get comfortable with the energy and what that feels like. All right. Okay, and mix you here. Michelle from Toronto, working with the Starlight in Illuminated Tarot tonight. Very good. So nice to see you. Okay, here is the next question from Adrija Roy. I just had a talk with P today, huh? How did he receive it? Very good. So let's take a look and see what we see. How did he receive it? If you'd like to do this reading at Adrija, the name of the card you got and your interpretation, how did he receive it? I think he's kind of uncomfortable, As we've discussed before, I just get the feeling that he's sort of halfway in, halfway out. And so I feel like however the conversation went, the whole thing makes him a little uncomfortable. All right, mix you here. My question, I'm very worried about my financial situation. Will I find a cash job to tide me over until I find a full-time job? If you would like to do this reading, Mixuir, at Mixuir, the name of the card you got and your interpretation. Let's see what we got going on here. So, here's the thing. I really believe that this situation going on is like making you feel bad about you. Not just like trying to finagle, how am I going to do this? But you're putting some judgment on it. Like you're somehow bad for finding yourself in this situation. So I would say if such judgment exists, remove that judgment. And I think if you are creative in your thinking, and if you talk to a lot of people around you, you will be able to find what you need. Tortoiseshell Moon. Kathy, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Glad you're here. Okay, right, you're in Liverpool with the Robin Wood, one of my favorite decks. The next question that I see, let's see. Hang on one second here. Right, make sure. Yeah, no, you're not lazy. Your skills are of value. These things happen, man. Don't judge it. Just work with it. Josephine, it's so nice to see you. Thanks for being here. And Denise Woods, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member using the Smith-Waite deck in Hayden, Kentucky. Thanks so much for being here. Okay. Oh, Lisa Harmon, that is a good question for our second half. We should have some fun with that. Okay. Okay. I believe the next question in the order that I see them is Claire C. Thank you so much for being a member here. Will my son-in-law find a good job soon? If you would like to do this reading, at Claire C., the name of the card you got and your interpretation. Do we see him finding a good job soon? 5 of Wands reversed. I look at that and I want to be like, well, that depends what you mean by good. Or that depends what you mean by soon. Like, I feel like it's taking a little time, and it may even be that he gets something temporary before he finds the thing that's going to be more ongoing. If that makes sense. All right. D9, so nice to see you. Any positive changes coming my way? If you'd like to do this reading, at D9, the name of the cards you got and your interpretation. Actually, yeah, and it's not immediate. With the Knight of Pentacles, it may take a little time, but there's financial improvement. And that might have to do with some work you'll actually be doing or getting paid to do something that you do. But there will be financial improvement coming. Okay. Okay, Quinn Kilharius, so nice to see you. How is the situation with MA going to unfold? I haven't spoken to him in 2 weeks after a fight. Oh my gosh, that's so anxiety producing. Hey, Clumsy Clairvoyance, so nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for being a moderator. I've missed you. All right, Quinn. So if y'all would like to do this reading, at Quinn Kilharius, the name of the card you got and your interpretation. How is the situation with MA going to unfold? Haven't spoken to him in 2 weeks after a fight. Wow. I mean, is it possible that you would just never speak to again and it would just be over? Like, the World is such an interesting card. I'll be very interested to see what other people pull so we can kind of put it together. Like, for me, the World would would be one or the other. Either you'll have like a conversation and get everything set and everything will be great, or you'll never see each other again. It's like all or nothing. Which is it? My first thought was nothing. That we're just done. That's it, we're done. But let's see. Okay, Josephine, so nice to see you. Thanks for being here. What am I supposed to learn from the angry and frustrated people around me that are mean to me? Maybe to don't be like them. Maybe you should learn that they suck. I don't know, man. Let's take a look. I'm so sorry you're going through that. If you would like to do this reading, at Josephine, or is it Josephine or Josephine? Josephine? I might be pronouncing your name completely poorly. Please, please, please correct me. Tell me how to pronounce your name. I have a difficult name too. And, it always feels good when people pronounce your name correctly. Okay, so what am I supposed to learn from the angry, frustrated people who are mean to you? That maybe you don't owe them anything. And maybe some of them you can just get away from. Maybe you can deal with them differently. I don't think they're here to teach you a lesson except how not to let them abuse you. Whether it's about boundaries, whether it's about standing up for yourself, whether it's about avoidance, one way or the other, what you need to learn from them is to get out of their way. And if you have no choice but to deal with them, learn how to have boundaries and maybe find ways to speak up for yourself that would be appropriate. There's a great old book called The Gentle Art of Verbal Self-Defense. You might find that helpful. Okay, let's see what other people have to say. And I want to say a big thank you to Lisa Harmon. Thanks for being a member. And thank you so much for the generous super sticker. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Okay, next up is shh, just like it sounds. When and how will it end? Let's take a look and see what we see. All right. So we have the Ace of Wands reversed. And I feel like before we even look at the when and the how, there's a lot of questions about what do you really want? And what's going on in your life right now? And are there things going on in your life right now that aren't working for you, that are making you unhappy? I feel like there might be some things before we talk about that future husband. I think there might be some things that need to be handled in your situation right now. And the thing is, I feel like there are difficulties there, and you might hope that a marriage would make things better. And ideally, I think that's why we all get married, because we think it's going to make things better. And guess what? Sometimes it does. I love me, my IT John. Sometimes it works. But I would say be careful about this. Now, let's see if other people can give you a better sense of the where and the when, because that's not coming up for me in this card at all. So if you'd like to try this question, where and how will I meet my future husband? At the name of the card you got in your interpretation. See if someone can help out. Ashley, thanks for being here. I would like to know, will I start to get more visions when I am in, now it says mediation, but I think you mean meditation. And my question too is are visions good? Are we dealing with hallucinations that you don't want to have? Or are we really looking for spiritual visions? I've got questions here, but let's just do the reading. If you'd like to do this reading, at Ashley, the name of the card you got, and your interpretation. And what comes up for me is messages from your ancestors and loved ones in spirit. Whether that comes as visitation, as vision, as just a feeling, as hearing, I don't know. But I do think that's what's going to happen. Oh, golly gosh, Lynn Collin, once again, thanks so much for being here. Hope you can come on Sunday. Thanks for being a member. Will I be able to get out of a contract that was misrepresented without going legal? Golly gosh, I'm so sorry you're dealing with that. All right, let's take a look. If you'd like to do this reading, at Lynn Collin, the name of the card you got, and your interpretation. Yes. 5 of Swords reversed. I think you're going to be able to do this. You need to be diplomatic. You need to have sort of a carrot and a stick. But I think that you're going to be able to use your good powers of negotiation and diplomacy to make this happen. Okay, tortoiseshell moon, Kathy. Thank you so much for being here. And did I just overscroll? I think I did. Give me a minute. Oh my gosh, I way overscrolled. Hang on. Oh, Claire, that made a lot of sense. Okay, good. And Clumsy Clairvoyance, so nice to have you back. We miss you so much. All right, here we are. Tortoiseshell Moon, Kathy, again, thank you for being a member here. My question is, why can't I walk away when I know that's what's best for my mental well-being? I consider myself a strong person, but I feel so weak. Man, you know, you're not alone in this, Kathy. You are not alone. We have all been there. So I don't think it's about strength or weakness. But let's take a look. Let's see what we got. If you'd like to do this reading at Tortoiseshell Moon, the name of the card you got and your interpretation, why can't you walk away? Because there is some part of you that is willing to take a risk, because there is some part of you that believes something good can come out of it. Even though intellectually you know it's either not likely or not possible, there is some part of you that is just willing to do it because it's easy to believe. But this could, for you, go back to some childhood stuff. This may actually be a trauma response. This is not your weakness. It's not about weakness or strength. It may be a trauma response. It may have to do with something you experienced as a child. All right. Zara M., thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it. Okay, can I start an AI software company and real estate business and succeed, or should I just focus on finding a full-time job? All right, let's take a look. If you'd like to do this reading, at Zara M., the name of the card you got and your interpretation. So, with just one card, we have death. And so it's hard with a single card where you have an either or question. It's hard to answer with a single card. But what I can say is this. I feel like you're looking for a really big change. You're looking to do something really different. I think, though, with the death card, that you may want to change the way you're thinking about this. Like, it may not be an either or thing. It may be first one, then the other. It may be you get a job, but then start a business on the side. Or you get a job, but then also go to school. So I feel like you are ready to make changes, but you may need to change the way you're thinking about all this. Let's see what other people have to say. Okay, Clumsy Clairvoyance, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member here. Thanks for being a moderator here. The last 6 months, I've been seeing much more things out of the corner of my eye, figures, etc. Is this my third eye intuition, seeing what I haven't seen before? Let's take a look. I love that question. Let's see what we got going on. Oh, Zara, that made sense. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for that feedback. Okay. So Clumsy Clairvoyance. And if you'd like to do this reading, at Clumsy Clairvoyance, the name of the card you got and your interpretation. Yes, Zara, that's what I'm thinking for you. Yes. Okay, so Clumsy Clairvoyance. Last 6 months, seeing much more, things out of the corner of my eye, figures, is it my third eye intuition, seeing what I haven't seen before? If you want to do this reading, go ahead. Clumsy Clairvoyance, the card you got and your interpretation. I would say with the Four of Cups reversed, I would say, yeah, I think there is an opening. I think you are I think it's all the things that have been there that you're just perceiving. And I feel like there's even more that you're still not perceiving that will be coming in over time. So this is growth, and there's more growth coming. That's what I think. All right. Julia Bonesteel. So nice to have you here. Thanks for being a member here. Just wondering how the dispute with my husband's business will turn out. Ugh, I'm so sorry you're going through that. Sorry, yes, that's exactly what I said. Yeah, it's not either or necessarily. All right. Julia, if you'd like to do this reading, at Julia Bonesteel, the name of the card you got in your interpretation. How the dispute with my husband's business will turn out. Dang, this is going to be a pain. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I was only supposed to pull one card, but the second card was really just the same as the first card. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I know it's going to be a pain, and I know that you should take it seriously. Like, if it matters to your husband's memory, if it matters to you financially, if it matters in some way, take it seriously. It's a serious dispute. So Josephine is how it's pronounced. That's how I did it the first time, I think. Okay, Melissa Bishop, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member here. Yours is the next question. Should I start a channel under my name or be anonymous? All right, and if you'd like to do this reading, at Melissa Bishop, the name of the card you got and your interpretation. I think you should be anonymous. I think you'd be freer. Okay. So one question per person, please. Okay, Jenny, nice to see you. Hang on, I just overscrolled. I'm coming back to you. Give me a minute. Hang on a minute. There we go. Jenny, how is he feeling toward me and our relationship? If you would like to do this reading, at Jenny, the name of the card you got and your interpretation. You know, with the Two of Pentacles, I think he's got a lot going on in his life. And I think he feels like the relationship is a lot. You know, like this is just a lot to deal with all the way across. But I think he wants to try to make it work. I really do. And thank you, everyone, for doing readings. It's so great to see. Okay. Lydia is the next. Do I have a stable future with my boyfriend? Victory and stability seem so far away. If you'd like to do this reading, at Lydia, the name of the card you got and your interpretation. You know, with the Six of Swords reversed, I think you do care about each other. I think it can be a stable relationship, but I think you get sort of tied up in feeling stuck, and I think you get stuck in emotions, and that makes it hard. And again, if you'd like to do this reading, at Lydia, the name of the card you got and your interpretation. Okay. Hey, Leslie, nice to see you. Here we go. You're up next. I'm wondering if me and my ex will ever get back together. Missing him a lot. If you would like to do this reading, at Leslie Jones, the name of the card you got and your interpretation. Hey, Dina Moskowitz, so nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Okay. So, Leslie Jones, and if you'd like to do this reading, at Leslie Jones, the name of the card you got and your interpretation. I'm wondering if me and my ex will get back together. With the Queen of Pentacles, I do think it's possible. I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no, I'm just saying it's possible. Okay, Zara, no, we try to do it like for the whole community, one question each time. And Julia, yeah, take it seriously without letting it take you off course. That totally makes sense. All right. So from my perspective, we have answered all the questions for readings. If I accidentally missed you, if you asked a single question and I missed you, I'm so sorry. Please do reiterate. If you've been here this whole time doing readings for people and you have not yet asked your question, it's time. And now the floor is open for questions about tarot. And there were a couple already from the beginning. I'm going to scroll back and find them, and we'll start with those. Any question that you have at all about tarot, about divination, about psychism, about any of this, whether it's specific to tarot, about cards, about a reading you did that you didn't understand. That's what we've got from... Justine. Sorry, Justine. I had your face, your voice. I knew exactly who you were. I just couldn't think of your name. I am so sorry. Forgive your tarot fairy godmother for being old. All right. So we have a question from Justine, and we have a question, I believe, from Lisa. So we'll get to those and any questions that you have. And Zara has one. What deck to start with? Man, that is such a great question. And I'm going to just put that out there. Tag it beginner. Tag it beginner. Or, hey, Miriam K. Tarot, nice to see you. So the question is, what's a great deck to begin with? Tag it beginner and let Zara know. What deck do you recommend as a first deck? This one, Morgan Greer, is not too bad. But I really, right now, I'm a fan of Weiser Tarot. Weiser. Weiser Tarot. Here's the box. I don't have the deck in the box, but this would be one that I would recommend. So, tag it beginner, and there we go. Okay. So, and then from Dina, I love this one. A tarot teacher sees the swords as fire and wands as air. Any thoughts as this? Yes. And if anyone wants to ring in on this, tag it fire air or air fire. I don't care. So here's the thing. There are legit magical traditions where swords are fire because they're forged in fire, and wands are air because they eat carbon dioxide. You know, the wood, the wands, the trees, they eat carbon dioxide and produce oxygen, which is air. So there's a rationale for this. And remember that the four icons, the four suits, are the four tools of magic. You know, so this is connected to Western esoteric magical tradition. And the fact is there are two primary magical traditions in the West. One that associates the tool, the wand, with fire, and one that associates it with air. And likewise, one that associates swords with fire and one that associates the sword or the athame with air. So it's not unusual, but I would think that any decent tarot teacher would say that the vast majority of decks and traditions in tarot are swords, air, wands, fire. I would assume that any tarot teacher who is teaching swords, fire, wands, air would explain that this is not the way it always is and would give some background on it. And if they didn't, I would find them suspect as a tarot teacher, quite frankly. Now, which decks do this switch? One of my favorites is from Lisa Hunt and DJ Conway, Celtic Dragons does that switch. The original Art Nouveau tarot from US Games does that switch. So it happens. It happens. But again, it's a minority thing. Okay, so Marion agrees with me. For beginner decks, Marion says any Rider-Waite Smith version or clone. Learn that and you can read any deck pretty much. Yep. Lisa Harmon suggests Hanson Roberts, Rider-Waite Smith, Everyday Witch Tarot. Right, and Tina Wand is also greenwood, which doesn't burn easily. Well, that brings up a whole other thing, though. Why, like, what's the justification for swords as air and wands as fire? I gave you the justification the other way. But why wands as fire? Because, again, in Western occult tradition, we see the life force energy is fire. And so we picture fire as a blooming or a budding stick. That's fire. So like in the Waite deck where we don't see, the wands aren't on fire in the Waite deck, there's literally there are leaves coming out of the wands. That literally is what we see as the fire energy. And swords as air, I mean, on one hand, there's like the weight, like you wave your sword in the air, but also the idea that the sword will cut through the air. Okay. PL Day. So this is an interesting one. And PL Day, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. And I am still so excited from having had you visit my office, I have to tell you. Beginner, often your first deck is given to you. So I just have to say, I mean, it's always nice to receive a deck as a gift. A few of you have sent decks to me, and I appreciate it so much. But we have to be very careful because there is misinformation in our community that says that decks must be given to you or that your first deck must be given to you. You shouldn't buy it. And that is not true. That's not true. And the idea that a deck will call you as a beginning deck, that's an interesting one too. Because yes, decks call us all the time. And luckily they're not that expensive, you know? And right, Sarah's talking that what one finds attractive. And for me as a beginner deck, I would have to say, don't even worry about what you find attractive. Like the most beautiful decks in the world might be some of the most unreadable decks. So I would disagree with that. I would say, don't go for what you feel attracted to. Don't go for the one whose energy you like. Don't go for the one that you think is really pretty. Go for one that's a good, basic beginner deck, as has been mentioned here. And it is interesting that pretty much everyone here has mentioned a deck in the Waite tradition. And, you know, you could also go Crowley tradition. You could go Marseille tradition. But Waite is the most popular tradition in the world, and I think there's a reason for that. Oh, Dina suggests Simplicity Tarot. That is a great idea. And the designer of Simplicity Tarot, Emily Muniz, is one of our headliners at StarCon 2024. Just saying. Clumsy, you're funny. Okay. Okay, and Zara wants to know, is tarot communicating with spirits? Okay, I'm not even going to say anything about that because I want to know what other people think. Is tarot communicating with spirits? Tag it spirits, tell us what you think. And Clumsy Clairvoyance likes Simplicity. Very good. Okay, Clumsy Clairvoyance. Christiana, I think I've asked you this question a long time ago, but I'd love to hear your opinion. How do you feel about tarot readers reading the majors has negative question? Can I ask you to extrapolate on that just a little bit, and because I don't understand the question. Here we go. Clumsy clairvoyance. Tarot communicates with spirits if that's what your intention is. Right. I think there's like this whole question, who speaks through the tarot? Well, who speaks through your telephone? You know, it depends on who you call, what your intention is. I would agree with that. Okay, so clumsy clairvoyance. I'm going to look for a reiteration on that question. Julia, spirits. I wanted to start channeling and I realized I've been doing it all these years while reading tarot. Oh, Claire C., you found a tarot flashcard app. Okay. Dina, prompts for tarot journaling. I'm going to get to that in a minute, Dina, because my head's exploding right now. Clumsy? Readers reading all majors as being negative? All majors as being negative? What fool does that? What asinine, ridiculous, douche nozzle person would think that was a good idea? I'm sorry. Anyone can use tarot any way they like. There's no tarot police. But why would you read any card as always negative? In my opinion, there is not one card in this deck that is always negative. There's not one card in the deck that's always positive. That's not how it works. And so someone saying that any major arcana card will mean something bad that you don't want. So here's the thing. You can program your cards that way and they will work that way. You can activate your cards that way. You can activate each of the 78 cards to indicate a flavor of ice cream. And so if there are 78 flavors of ice cream, you can use your deck to decide which ice cream you want. But why would you? Why would you do that? You know, it drives me nuts because like tarot is like the spiffiest, most amazing sports car. And when people decide that these simplistic, stupid ways of working with the cards are like ideal, I feel like these are the kind of people who would spend $100,000 on a sports car and never drive it and just sit in it and eat their lunch every day in the car and never drive it. That's what you're doing when you read tarot like that. Claire C., I thought how delighted I would be to have a reference manual with your interpretation. So, Tarot Tour Guide, my book Tarot Tour Guide, does have basic interpretation, my basic interpretations for each of the cards. The new book that'll be coming out soon also will have that, but basic. But yeah, they're there. Dina, I'm in rare form today. Indeed I am. Marion, Christiana, please think of your blood pressure. I checked my blood pressure today. It was really good. It was like 112 over 87 or something. Not bad for an old lady. All right. Thank you, everybody. So, Claire, I was trying to copy your readings from the YouTube when I was trying to copy your readings from the YouTube transcript. It makes sense, right? Right, I appreciate it. And regarding spirits speaking through the cards, Melissa, very smart. Spirits, not necessarily. Intuition is part of it too. Dina says, spirits, I feel like it connects you to your internal spirit through the ancestral tarot practice, connecting to spirits. Marion, spirits, yes and no. You can read without talking to spirits and you can read and communicate with spirit. Yeah, all that. I agree with all of that. Okay, here we go from Dina. Prompts for tarot journaling. Any good books for prompts for tarot journaling? How do you get prompts for tarot journaling? How do you do that? How do you do a prompt for a tarot journaling? Honestly, I will just be like, okay, what card should I dive into today? There's my card. So now I have to think about it, write about it, and just like that, like where does it take me? Like for me, it's that. Like, okay, just pull a card randomly and that's what I'm going to write about in any way I see fit. So that's how I do it, which I realize is really simple and boring. So there's probably some better ways. Okay, now I am going all the way back to Justine's question. Justine's not here. She got called into work, lucky her, but she'll be listening to the replay. So, the 6-card Beltane spread by Ethany, it was included in last week's Tarot Topics newsletter. In that spread, I got some confusing draws and was wondering if you had any insight. So the question, it's position 5. The question is, what limitations do I still believe? We have the King of Pentacles and the Chariot as a follow-up. And so how does the Knight of Pentacles followed by the Chariot describe a limitation, a limiting thought that Justine still believes that she shouldn't believe? And then we also, for position 6, where can I shine? We got the High Priestess reversed. Okay, so I'm going to say what I think, and if anyone has any thoughts on this, just tag it Justine. And Justine, just remember the chat is up. The chat comes up 24 hours after it stops recording. So if you're watching this before 24 hours have passed, I'll try to read it aloud for you if I see any, but I might miss them. So come back in 24 hours. All right, so working backwards. High Priestess reversed for position 6. Where can I shine? Justine, I would say you can shine anywhere that you don't overthink. You can shine anywhere that you don't find yourself in a space of guilt and shame and feeling bad about yourself. You can shine anywhere that you allow yourself to shine. That's where I would go with that. And limitations that you still believe, Knight of Pentacles and then the Chariot. I'm stuck with the horses in both, you know, the idea that we're trying to move forward. And I wonder if you have some limiting beliefs about your own ability to be successful. That's where I would go with those things. Let's see where other people might take it as well. It was the Knight of Pentacles. And, and Clumsy Clairvoyance has dropped the link for the newsletter. Julia has an idea for tarot journaling. Imagine yourself as the character in the card and write about how you would feel with those energies. How would you go about your day? That's so good. That's so good. Dina, tarot journaling. I've been writing about experience in past and present that are similar to a COTD pick. PL Day, I cannot say enough good things about my in-person experience with Christiana. Well, right back at you. She is more amazing than you think, damn straight. I came away so empowered and stronger in my beliefs and the road I'm walking. Oh, thank you. That's so kind. Thank you so much. And Clumsy Clairvoyant suggests, if you're looking for tarot journaling prompts, that you just Google for tarot journaling prompts and you'll find some. Your question has not been answered, Lisa Harmon, but I'm coming to it. We're getting there. Michelle Bishop's majors. There are decks made up of only majors. Why? I don't know how that started. I imagine in the earlier days it was cheaper. But majors only decks are a real thing, and you can do a reading just with majors. So it's its own tradition. It is a real thing. Aha, Claire from transcripts from the Monday readings. That would be fun. Oh my gosh. Okay. So now I am going back and I am looking, it was earlier, for Lisa, this is Lisa's question, isn't it? Lisa Harmon's question, which I think I remember, but I want to make sure I get it correctly. So I'm scrolling back for that one. Hang on one sec. It had to do with reincarnation and spirituality. And Let's see. Hang on a minute here. Or Lisa Harmon, did you also have just a regular old tarot question? If so, did we get to that? Here it is. Okay, everyone, this is a heavy question. No right or wrong answers. Does one's spiritual practices carry over from one life to the next? I.e., if one was Catholic in one life, does it carry over to the next? That is a really interesting question. I don't know that there's any specific wisdom on that, but I'd love to hear. What do you think? Does one's spirituality carry over from lifetime to lifetime? And I think, we should probably separate that out between spirituality and religion, because a lot of times spirituality, like religion, is cultural and family, and spirituality is choice. So I think that's a very interesting question. I have no answer for it. Any thoughts? Tag it past lives and tell us what you think. My feeling would be no. But our sense of spirituality might, but the religion I don't think would, but I don't know. Okay, here we go. Melissa, here's another question from Melissa Bishop. How deeply should we dive into the symbolism of the cards? Again, there's no right or wrong here. Tag it symbolism and let's see what you think. How deeply should you dive into the symbolism of the cards? And I think that's really personal. Like, there's a million ways to read the cards. Some people just do the symbolism, in which case the deck you use really matters because different decks, different symbols. Some people remember the symbolism from many different decks and kind of put that all together in their head. Some people don't pay attention to it at all. Some people read into the symbolism but interpret it differently than the artist or the creator intended. I think that's okay. Whatever you see is what you see. So, there that is. And Clumsy Clairvoyance, here it is. I believe as much as you are feeling called to do so. Right, so you can read tarot specific to astrology or Kabbalah or none of those things. So it's entirely up to you. You don't have to. You don't have to at all. But you can, and you can do a really great reading with it. So here it is. So Melissa, I have people asking me what each card means when I do a reading, but I get a big picture. So here's the thing. It is perfectly okay to say to people, the individual cards have classic meanings, but they speak very specifically in a reading because they speak in conjunction with each other in context of the question. And so when I do a tarot reading for you, I am not necessarily going to interpret it card by card. You can go to the library and get a book on tarot. Just take a picture of the spread, go to the library, get a book on tarot, and then you can see the classic interpretations, which may or may not have anything to do with what I'm going to say to you, because this is a tarot reading, not a list of tarot interpretations. And so I have the same thing, and I will talk about each card if people want me to, but you don't have to. That's not intrinsic to the reading. And so that you can ask them, do you want a tarot lesson or do you want a reading? I can do either. I can do both, but be clear about what you want. So that's how I would handle it. Clumsy Clairvoyant says, I have that happen to me all the time. I would and still do spend too much time explaining what the cards are and also their basic meaning, which may have nothing to do with the actual reading. So it doesn't affect how we come across as unknowledgeable or unprofessional if we don't know the details of every image. Oh, God, no. No, because most people are not paying you to know what that little thing in the chariot is. They're paying you to give them information about their lives. If they're really interested in that symbolism, they can look it up like anybody else. They don't need to pay you for that. That's not what you're there to do, in my opinion. And I mean, it's all about speaking with confidence, you know? And this is true in reading tarot professionally, but I swear to goodness it's true in any job. Oh, Melissa, I'm glad that was helpful. Good. Just be confident in what you see. Quinn, I had a weird experience with one of my decks. It's the Romantic Tarot. The images evoke in me very different meanings than the traditional ones. Can I still say I read tarot when I use it? Yeah, you can. Yes. Okay. Clumsy. Christiana taught me to stop explaining myself during readings, right? Sarah, is this recorded? Yes. The same link will take you back to the replay. And the replay will be up as soon as we're done. Okay, back to past lives, the whole past life question. Yeah, you can absolutely. You can watch it later. You can watch it as often as you want. And we do this every month, so you can watch us do it every month. Right, it's all there on the channel. All right. Lisa, past lives. I think it would depend upon how devout they were in the past life. But the thing is, too, when we talk about being devout, some people are devout because they really are spiritual. Some people are devout because they're avoiding. They use that devotion to avoid being in the world. So how would that show up? I mean, it might show up as the religion, but it might also show up as the dysfunction. You know, if the dysfunction is not healed. PL Day, I think past life spirituality can influence future lives, but not necessarily be the same. Fair. Marion, past lives, I think perhaps something that could show up within your astrological chart. There are things that I've done in my personal practice that's purely instinct, but I know I'm remembering it. Got it. Good. Claire C., I'm drawn toward Eastern religions, so I feel like that could be from a recent incarnation. So there's an example of how that could show up, absolutely. Julia, past lives, I believe we continue to reincarnate to grow spiritually. Dina, this is smart. Why did I, as a Jewish girl, keep calling out to Mary, Mother of God, when I was in labor? Hashtag past lives, right? I mean, that would be my guess. And so probably your religion did not carry over, right? And Lisa Harmon, the Halloween deck is not a majors only deck. I have one majors only deck. I can't remember its name though. They're around. Okay, so what did I miss? We're in our last 2 minutes. I want to thank you all so much for being here. I thank you for your kind words. I thank you for your support of this channel. I thank you for spending time with us here tonight and sharing your thoughts and ideas. Claire C., I really enjoy tarot symbolism. It reaches me on a deeper level, which I cannot explain. These symbols let me get insights into the reading. There you go. Some people do tarot readings just based on the colors. They do it all on the colors. You know? So there's so many different ways to do it. And so that's why, like, when I pull out the Orbi, the Orbifold, when we talk about tarot symbolism, and then you get a deck like this, which is actually very symbolic if you look at the shape and the color. But it's different than you would think, right? So, yeah, there it is. There are no tarot police. Do it whatever way you can. My friends, I want to thank you so much for being here. Tomorrow we have the Tarot Topics weekly newsletter recap, but it's going to be earlier than usual, I believe. If you're local, please join me at Panera Bread in Palm City, 4 p.m. on Sunday. My friends, thank you all so much. Special shout out to those people who helped out with super chats and super stickers, to the members, to the moderators, to everyone who's here. If you're here for the first time, please do subscribe. If you're watching the replay, leave a comment. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate all of you so much. Take really good care. Be good. Thank you so much.